Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, June 29th, 2026. I, of course, am Hammer, founder of Hammer Solutions, home of great products that help my originator friends get more business in 2026. Products like Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Be sure to check them out. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, do me a favor, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here and join us live tomorrow. See what you think of that. If you want to join us live and you want a quick reminder, I send out a text alert as I'm going live so that you have the links at your fingertips and you don't have to think about it. You can sign up and get that text alert at hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code over here. Again, it's hmmr.io/reminder. So if you're here this morning, say good morning. If you are here, we got a question of the day for you today. So this weekend, I went away with my wife. As you guys know, I went to Unicoi, Tennessee. The idea was to take the bike, but the weather was just nasty all weekend and heavy thunderstorms. They were even talking about hail. And it's just not fun to ride in that if you don't have to. And it was going to be the whole weekend. So we ended up taking the truck. Anyway, played some board games. Played Othello. Remember the game Othello? Black and white pieces, a minute to learn, a lifetime to master. I haven't played that in forever. But it made me think, what is your favorite board game to play? That is the question of the day. Be sure to answer. Let me know in the comments. What is your favorite board game to play? I think mine is still probably Monopoly, but I like to play with the home rules, where you can trade and barter and where it's like real life. I always liked Monopoly, and I always won at Monopoly, so that was a good sign. Anyway, if you're here this morning, say good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started in a minute. Welcome to all the live folks. Let's go ahead and let's jump in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. While I do that, you make sure you answer the question of the day. Let me know, what is your favorite board game to play? So anyway, this morning, you can see mortgage-backed securities currently flat at this point at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time after being down a few basis points just a few minutes ago. What you don't see is much of a reaction to the headlines about what happened over the weekend. U.S. and Iran going tit for tat with some military action in the Strait of Hormuz, and they call it a flare-up intentions, So markets don't care what happens between the U.S. and Iran as long as oil prices stay low. And although we have headlines that talk about like oil prices rising, this was yesterday. In the evening, oil prices rise as U.S. and Iran reach a deal to halt attacks, but yet rising oil prices were still 72.78, which you can see down here. On the 26th, which was Friday, they were at 71.99. So, WTI Brent crude is about $1 higher than it was. Really not bad at all. Still tremendously cheaper than we were at here when this whole thing was starting. So keep that in mind. But when it comes to the technicals this morning, we were flat a minute ago. Now we're down a couple of basis points. Really no big deal. Quick recap of what happened on Friday to end the week last week. You could see that we had some movement in the morning as pricing was coming out. We saw a little bit of improvement to rate sheets, showing that rate sheets, in fact, did not change as much as they could have. Basically capping out. You'll notice 6.53. It did it on Thursday. It did it on Friday. This morning, very likely to see basically the same kind of thing. Rates aren't going to move much when we're down a whopping 2 or 3 basis points at any given moment, maybe even flat or maybe even up a couple basis points. Also, let's take a look at that 10-year treasury yield, 4.375. We would technically, you're going to round that up to 4.38, but all you need is that little movement there, 4.374. Now we're back down to 4.37. 4.37 is where it was on Friday. It's kind of, again, it shows signs, the technicals are showing signs of capping out. Rate sheets today, very much likely to match what we saw on Thursday, on Friday. Because of that, that puts us in a position of locking most loans for protection. This week is going to be jam-packed week full of data, all kinds of things happening this week. that we've got going on. We've got labor market data normally comes out on Friday, but Friday markets will be closed in observance of the 4th of July, which is on Saturday. So labor market data, BLS jobs data is going to come out on Thursday morning, and then the market's going to close at 2 p.m. on Thursday. So you know what's going to happen. We're going to see an initial reaction, maybe a little bit of dust settling, and then traders are going to be gone for a 3.5-day weekend. It's, this is a great party weekend. It's almost like Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then the weekend, right? So we're going to have the 4th of July, even though it is on Saturday. We're going to be celebrating that on Friday, and then of course markets closing early on Thursday. So you're going to see a lot of movement there. Nothing on the economic calendar for today, but we do have JOLTS data coming up tomorrow. What else do we have going on? Let's take a peek here at the economic calendar from Mortgage News Daily this week. Move this over so you guys could see it with me here. So when we take a look here at what we've got kind of going on here, again, nothing for Monday. There's not even a Monday in here. We got Tuesday. We've got the JOLTS data is kind of the biggest thing that we've got going on. Then we've got on Wednesday, we have the ISM manufacturing PMI data, which means non-manufacturing should be somewhere in this week, but I don't see it. Thursday, we've got non-farm payroll and regular jobless claims. So here's your big, BLS jobs data on Thursday. That's going to be the big thing on Thursday. Markets closing at 2 p.m. and then markets closed for the 4th of July on Friday. Again, observing that. So we're going to have quite a bit of activity. Now, here's the thing. I do not see a world where rates are improving much this week, if at all. I think we have seen what you see right here. We've seen last week, we saw improvement, and now it's falling back off. You've got technical resistance right here with the 100-day moving average, this green line. We also have resistance at 101.66. If you kind of draw a line across over here, okay, if you kind of draw this line, you can see that there's quite a few places over here, over here, over here, over here, right here. Quite a few times that this has held up as a technical, and that'll give us some technical resistance as well. It's just unlikely to see improvement here. Now, again, the good news is that we're not seeing headlines here that are shaking things up. That's the good news, that markets aren't panicking over the fact that this could happen. There was a talk that the oil was slowing down going through the Strait of Hormuz. But again, markets, they're pretty comfortable with where things are at. Oil, 72.78, not the best, but only about $1 worse than where it was at on Friday. So not really that bad. I filled up at $3.28. That was the best I could find over the weekend in Tennessee. So let's see what y'all have to say. I see some comments, especially from my man Siegel. Let's see. I'm not a gamer, but your family loves Giant Jenga. We'll call it a board game. Giant Jenga. Oh, I keep looking at the old place that I had my camera. I've got my camera down here today, just doing something a little different. Mike's advising clients to lock at a higher rate if there's a big rebate with the thought of refinancing again in a year. And I think that's a very sound strategy. I think we will see an environment where the economy weakens a bit and rates go down again. But for right now, I think we're very much in that spot. Let's see what else you guys have to say. We'll go back and do all the games in a minute. Do you see that par 5.5 on the UMBS as a floor now that we broke that ceiling on Friday? What's par since we broke? Where are you talking about here? Let's go look at your technicals here. Hold on. So you said don't even mention 328 on gas. You're at 525 in comma for you. Yeah, you guys with your special blends, it's always been insane. Do you see that par as a floor? I don't know which one you would see as a floor. If you're talking about like the 50-day moving average as a floor. I mean, I actually think we could go back down to where we were here in June at some of the worst prices. I don't think we'll get down to the worst levels that we saw in May, but I think we could actually drop all the way back down here to where we were in June. We could see this happen again, in my opinion, but hopefully we don't. But I do think that, we're gonna continue to kind of play around between, say, 100. Oh, do I see par as that? Yeah, like, so you're looking at 100. when you say par, you mean 100. So you're looking at 100. Yeah. So I do see par as a pretty likely support. But again, technicals will take a back seat if something happens in the fundamentals. Right now, we want to definitely continue to keep an eye on expectation of a Fed rate hike, and that's the big move. So, hey, Sophia, don't step on my keyboard. You're going to mess up what's going on there. So, that's the big thing that we want to be definitely paying attention to is what are the expectations of a Fed rate hike that are going to come. Right now, expectations of a July hike only about 30%. You can see that right here, and that's where it's been for quite a while. But once you get to September, that increases quite a bit, up to 60% when you combine the two of them. Some think that we'll see either two hikes by then, or get your tail out of the camera. That we'll see two hikes by then, or that we'll see 1/2 point hike. But about a 40% expectation that rates would continue to remain the same. By the time we get to the end of the year, that's down to about 20% expectation. So I think if the BLS jobs data comes in, even remotely considered strong, I know you want some love. If that comes in even remotely strong on Thursday, I think that we see continued expectation that we can see a Fed rate hike. And I think it pressures, mortgage rates a little bit. When we're looking at rate sheets, I think it, takes us off these best levels to 6.53, puts us back in the 6.6s. So there's really no fear that rates are going to move significantly higher, but there's no reason to expect them to move significantly lower. We're back to kind of trying to catch a falling knife. And that's why, even though, the last couple of days I've said, hey, we don't have a lot to go on, but I would go ahead and lock. I think we'd been, kind of capping, and that so far is proving to be the case. Today's not a bad day. We could see improvement. Reprice risk on the day is low, but we'll see where it goes from there. So, all right. Yeah. And discussing on Friday, you were discussing par on Friday as a ceiling. So I don't remember that. I'll have to go back and look. So anyway, that's it, my friends. I'm going to wrap it up. We're 12 minutes in, not a long session today. There's not really a lot. So go ahead and tell me, what is your favorite board game to play? Let's go ahead and look. Holly Johnson said, not a board game, but you play Five Crowns all the time. I don't know what Five Crowns is. I'll have to Google that one. Let's see. And, come on, who else? Monopoly. All right. Jolyn says Monopoly. Sean, I like that walls match your hat. Yeah, I'll get around to my walls. I know everyone is busting my chops, but I don't care. They say your memory is second to go. I don't know what first to go is, but I'm sure there's a good joke there. I'll have to Google it. So let me know in the comments what's your favorite board game to play. I played Othello over the weekend for the first time in forever. It was fun. It was fun to play. A minute to learn, a lifetime to master. So, all right, y'all have a fantastic day. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow we get JOLTS data. We're going to have some other stuff to go on. So we'll get some opportunity to see some movement there. And Sky Joe is another fun one. I forgot what is first. I get you. I got you, Ron. I get it. I don't know what Amy Blaser said. She loves Five Crowns. I'll have to check those out. I don't know those games. So, all right. Well, you guys have a fantastic one. I will see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Yes, everyone sees you. They know you're there. They know you want to be petted. They all see you. All right. So we'll take care, everybody. Make it a great one. Bye-bye.